which is her author name, which is a great question of why. Like, why did you want to do that?
I just, like, so my maiden name is Wood, and my married name is Wall. So, like, both, it's just, like, the short one-syllable type. So I just felt like, I don't know, I said it in my head, like, we have 3 kids, and, like, every time, like, we picked a name for them, like, we said the first and the middle together to make sure it flowed right and that it sounded good and stuff. And, like, that to me is important. And I didn't like the way Erica Wall sounded. And it was funny, actually, my husband, when I showed him that this was, like, with my first book, when I did it, he was like, "You're doing E.L. Wall?" I'm like, "It's my name."
He sad?
No, he was like, I think he thought I was going to use my maiden name.
Oh,
so he was like, "You're using E.L. Wall." And I looked at him confused, and I was like, "That's my name." And he was like, "I thought you were going to do like your maiden
really
name."
nice.
And I'm like, "No, I'm like, my name is Erica Wall."
It looks very, like, prestigious.
So,
So this is your second book.
That's my second one. Yes.
So like we were talking about before, the point of this, I know so many people, especially from the hotels and guests, who are writing their first book.
Yeah.
And who are like, a lot of them are like secretly writing it.
Not
and
like
they don't want to
putting it
show people or like declaring it or embarrassed to say that they're writing it because maybe they don't know how.
I think the biggest thing with that, and like I'm not going to speak for other authors, but I feel like for myself, like one of like, it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, like the beauty of self-publishing is that you're not answering to anyone but yourself. Like there's no pressure except for the pressure that you put on yourself. And I think there should be,
which is a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I think there should be a healthy amount of that, because obviously if you're not pushing yourself, then like it's not, why did you even start? Like you want to give yourself that healthy push. But so a lot of people have asked me like, "Oh, like do you want to work with a publisher?" And I'm like, realistically, that would be great, because they can handle all the stuff that like is really difficult. Like I had to learn how to actually publish a book, and where did you start? So there is, maybe she'll see this, who knows, there is an indie author, Taylor Torres. I read her book, The Two of Us, and I loved it. And I reached out to her because I was like, oh, like, you know, she's still starting out, maybe like most people, like other authors are not going to answer. They get so many messages like all the time, like, you know. She was so sweet.
That's the best.
She was absolutely so sweet. She sent me different articles that she used and like different things that she used to help get her to that point and stuff. And maybe after, would you share some of the resources? Okay, cool. It's honestly, there's so many articles out there, and that was what she said too. The article that she sent me, I'm trying to remember what site, I don't remember what site it came from. And that's the thing too, like in today's age, you can literally go to YouTube and say, how do I? Exactly. And every single thing. And that is really how it is. I think like the important thing, because when I was publishing my first book, and a big regret that I have was the format size. I did 5.5 by 8.5, and I wish that I hadn't. Why? This is 5 by 8. This is like the perfect size. This is the type of book, like I want it to be a comfortable size to hold. Like my favorite author right now is Jennifer Hartman. I read all of her books on Kindle because they're huge. They're like I bet you that's large. Not something that everybody thinks about. No, and I mean, and the other reason why I was mad at myself is because I would love to be able to like have all of my books moving forward like on like the shelf together, and that first book is always going to be a little bigger. And then do you map like everything will be the same? So if I were to do a series, then yes, everything would be but uniform. Not for it. The people who did this book cover and my first, it's the same people that did it. So who were they? Books and Moods. Okay. So they did the cover for both of them. So that's why the font is still the same on both. But I mean, moving forward, I think would stick with the 5 by 8 size, just so that they're all a little bit more uniform. How long did this take you to write? It's so funny. So that goes along with the question of like self-publishing and not having the pressure, because I didn't tell a lot of people right away that I was writing a book until I was probably halfway through it, because again, like anyone, even your husband? Well, my husband knew. Well, because he sees me, and I was on my computer all the time, and I was like, I'm writing a book. Like it was like it came out almost taboo in a way, because I was like, I don't know what people are gonna like. Well, I remember telling my parents though, and they were just, my dad was like, what? That's amazing. Aww. And I'm like, oh my god, that's there. And my mom was like, oh my god, Like, they're, like...
super supportive.
Huge advocates. Like, they're always telling people, like, it's one thing when they're always, like, showing, these are my grandbabies. But now they're like, my daughter wrote a book. She wrote two, but So it was really cool. But the first book I started probably in October of 23. And then I published January of 24. The end of January. Wow. It was just a year ago. That's what I was saying to my sister. I'm like, I can't believe it's been a year. And I pretty much immediately started writing this one. I started in February of 24. Took a break for most of March. Had some just like life things happening in that time. So I like kind of took a break. Mm-hmm. And that was like the reset that I needed because I came back in April, finished it by May, and published in July.
Wow.
So, but every book is different. Like both, a lot of people always ask me like, where did you get the idea? So both this book and my first one came from essentially a dream. And I always like laugh at that because I think my dad told me, because my dad's a huge Stephen King fan, and he was like, Stephen King, he gets a lot of his books from his dreams. And I'm like I got the concept of this one from a dream. Like it was a very like watered down like idea, and then I changed a lot of things with the book. So I kind of already had like
you had these characters already in your mind,
essentially, like within some reason. Like I knew it was wild because in the dream that I had, it was basically like there was a girl, she found a trunk of letters, and I don't have a lot of dialogue in my dreams. I don't know how other people do, but like I don't notice colors and I don't notice a ton of dialogue. It's usually like little spurts here and there. And it just, the name Olive popped out, and it was like this girl was looking through a trunk and she found a bunch of old letters from someone claiming to be her mom.
Wow.
And she was like, okay, well, I already have parents, so like what the heck? So it was like this whole thing and like it's mainly a love story, but there is, you get into that. Obviously, like she learns about like found family and stuff because she finds out that she's adopted and stuff, and that's all in the back. I'm not giving any spoilers.
Don't give us any spoilers.
I won't do any spoilers.
We will want to read this. Do you have a certain structure that you follow when you are writing? Or do you kind of just like pop off?
I always feel like a little like an elementary school kid compared to like when I look at like big novelists and I'm like, they're like college.
Yes.
And I'm over here like in elementary school still trying to figure things out. Because I've seen how some people will do like 6 weeks of outline. And I'm like, yeah, no. Because in my mind, I'm constantly changing things. So I'm not going to spend 6 weeks on an outline for it to ultimately be completely different. Yeah. So usually what I do is I actually have notes in my phone. So I will create a note in my phone with the title if I have it when I'm working on it, which actually I'm on my third book, and every book I've had,
you've already had the title.
I have the title. And I usually start first where I'll list the characters, and this third book that I'm working on is the first one that I decided to use flashcards. So for like the FMC female main character, I'm assuming you know that, but I'm like, some people look at me and I'm like, I'm sorry, like
just in case
female main character FMC, all of her, like everything about her are on pink flashcards. Everything about the male main character are on blue flashcards.
Do you build the characters first?
Yeah.
Each character's personality
that
first?
I do strongly suggest.
Right.
I mean, the nice thing about it is when you're writing, it's a blank canvas and you can always change things.
It, right. It's not like, I think you get scared when you're like writing things, you think it's set in stone, but it's not.
It's not total a tattoo. Control. Yeah, it's not a tattoo.
Anything.
You can go in and change anything.
Scrap it all, start over.
You can just paint over it.
And that's the thing too, like it's like, oh, what advice could you give someone who's starting to write? And it's like, you just need to just pick up the pen or do it.
I always tell people, because I have someone that I know, she went through breast cancer, and so she's writing like nonfiction about her journey through breast cancer and stuff, and she's had some questions and everything, and I always tell people, I'm like, because you are starting on your own, you are automatically an indie author and you have no one to answer to. So just start. And if you don't like it, then it's fine. You don't have to do anything with it, but you can still say that you did it.
Right. And I think it's scary because like ultimately everybody is going to see it.
Yeah, that's been the hardest thing for me to overcome.
Like, do you read reviews?
I try not to.
You try not to, yeah.
I mean, I've had a lot of positive, but I've also had some negative.
I mean, there's always, and that's the thing. There is, no matter what
you're never going to please everybody.
There will always be something negative, and that is very true. I think people need to remember you cannot please everyone.
No, and you can't.
It's impossible. It's an unrealistic expectation.
I said that to my husband last night. I'm like, as a reader, like, I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'm reading a book right now, and while the plot is good and stuff, I don't like her writing. Like, I genuinely don't like. I don't even know. She doesn't use a lot of the, I, a. Like, when you start a sentence, like, the bed was in the center of the room. Like, it would be like, bed sits center of the room. Like, it's just, and he'll say girl, like, she'll write out and be like, girl just looked at me. And I'm like, can you just say her name? Like, her, like, I don't, it's just the flow of it it's not my style. And I think maybe because I've read other authors that I really like, I will advocate for Jennifer Hartman, because pretty much every book I've read of hers has been 5 stars. Like, I love her writing.
That's a big deal, 5-star.
It is. And
I don't give them out a lot.
I said that to my husband last night. I was like, I literally don't give out 5 stars.
I also won't review things I don't like because I feel too bad. Like, on my Goodreads, I'm like, I'm just gonna
just give it the stars and leave it be. You know, I've done the same thing. And I said that to him though. I'm like, it is a natural instinct to judge something. And that's why I always say, like, as much as I would love a lot of people to pick this up and to like read it and stuff like that, if romance is not your jam, then like don't. I'm never gonna sit here and push it on you.
Do you have like a goal of how many you want to sell, or like
I'm trying to be Colleen Hoover, so no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's go.
No, it truthfully, like, I've had this conversation with friends, my husband and stuff. Like, it is not about the driving force for this. It was not like, would it be great to make some money? Yeah, absolutely. Sure, would it be great to get exposure and have people want to read it and talk about it? Yeah, who doesn't want that? But I really wanted my kids to see that you don't have, I don't have a full college degree. I have an associate's in psychology.
Yeah, I'm an art school dropout.
Yeah, honestly, I went to art school. I'm not art school, but I did go to school as an art major. Yeah. And look at what you've done. You don't have to have a college degree to be successful. And I wanted to teach them that you can do something on your own, and and it doesn't have to be big. You know, the support from my friends and family thus far has truly been like all I really need anyways. Right. And when we're done, I'll show you a picture of my daughter, because she's like, everywhere we go, I tease people now, and I'm like, you would think that I like pay her, like, hey, remember the drill. When we get in there, you're going to tell people about my book. Like, that's how it feels when she brings it up, because we were in Target last week with my mom. We were in the book aisle.
Is it in Target?
No, I wish. Can you imagine?
We got to get it in Target.
I would love to. I have tried. That's Target and Barnes & Noble.
Best place for people to purchase it?
Amazon.
It's Amazon. So get it on Amazon. Will you sign one of these?
Oh, you did already? I brought 3. They're all signed, and I have a bookmark.
Because we would love to.
Oh yeah, one's in the room that we stayed in.
Okay, good.
And then I had 2 extras. I figured maybe either downstairs or one in one of these rooms or wherever.
I need to do a local. We have it at the other hotel, like a local author wall.
That's awesome.
But I also want to do a thing where if you're an author and you stay here, you sign like the wall.
Oh yeah.
Or something
that's so
like
cool. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, because people. I mean,
you just have honestly like you have someone's, and then you get like a frame cut out and just put a frame over it. Right. And then have people sign within the frame.
Right. I need to do that, because a ton of people are booking for writers. Well, one girl is actually doing, she's an author too, Katie Bean. She's from around here. She's doing a writer's retreat. I think it's in March for people to come to. And then just fun. A couple like random authors are booking just to get stuff done.
Someone that I think must have just stayed here. I think her name is also Erica.
Erica, yeah, she's another author.
Yeah, she already she sent me a friend request on Instagram, because she must have seen that I posted this story. So
she's the best. She just published that. Yeah,
that's
she's working on another book. She had a lot of great resources too.
Oh yeah. Hers. And I mean, I can't take credit for any of that, because like I said, like I got it from another indie author, but I think that's, I mean, I often wonder like where she got it from. If she either just found it all on her own.
She found it all on her own. There's a couple groups that I forget what it's called, but you'll like critique each other's work. Yeah. I don't remember what.
But I'm even speaking like the girl who helped me too. Like I don't. Oh, right. Is it like was she someone who found out? Like I didn't even know what to look for. Like I think that was the whole thing. Like if this Erica like found everything and like that's amazing, because I wasn't even like I remember sitting there and I'm like I literally don't know what I'm supposed to do. And the day that like I was supposed to upload it, because when you upload it to Amazon KDP.
Is that who how did you get it how did you get this published? How did you get this turned into a book?
You self-published through Amazon KDP.
Wow.
So when you go on, there's like a whole, you have to fill everything out and stuff. Like you have to have like a metadata list. You have to have like all the different, like there's different codes that you need like under whatever genre it is. So like it was romance.
I'm already just shut off because it sounds so hard. Like
it sounds harder than it is. I think when you take it piece by piece, I think it's really, it's like when you look at the year as a whole and you're like, oh my god, 365 days.
I would just shut my computer.
Yeah, I looked at it like, okay, what the heck is a metadata list? And I was like, I googled that and I googled how to fill it out, and there's just, it's just info about the book, and like you can go to different
good stuff, because I truly think those are the kinds of things that are roadblocks. Even though they're little, people will stop and like not do it for another year or something like that. Because
you don't think about that. Like there's a lot that goes on in between writing the book and having it printed. Like there's a lot, and that's
how much did it cost you?
So
if you don't mind me asking.
No, not at all. So when you, real quick, when you go through Amazon KDP, it's actually pretty straightforward. Like when I didn't upload the first one through Ingram Spark, and Ingram Spark is what you need to do if you want it to be in bookstores. Bookstores will not buy from Amazon because they're their number one competitor. So if somebody who's writing a book wants it to be like, I've gotten this book in stores, California, Texas, Florida, like a lot of other places, because I uploaded it through Ingram Spark.
And that's something completely separate.
It's a wholesale where bookstores can go and they can buy like a quantity of the books for like half off. So I don't get as much like payout through that, but again, it's not about that. Like,
but Amazon makes the book.
Yes. So Amazon is, I'm pretty sure it's like 70-30. So like they get 70% of the sales and I get 30, which seems like ludicrous.
But you would even get less if you went with the traditional publisher, right?
I don't know, because I've never worked with a publisher. On what your deal is. Yeah, it depends exactly. But like with Amazon, it's like, okay, well they get 70 and I only get 30. It doesn't cost anything to upload a book to Amazon. When you have everything ready, you upload it. What they take is 70% of the sales of like whatever it is made, because they're. Do
you have to order it? Like, did you have to pay to get this?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So they print on. When I got like with my first book, I ordered like you can order up to 5 samples at a time, but it comes with like a not for resale strip around it.
Okay.
I think for 5 books, I think I paid like less than $20.
I mean, this literally sounds amazing.
So
and
it
sounds
doesn't
like
cost
anybody
anything.
Can do this.
It is really, it's when you get down to like the root of like the concept, it is quite simple. Everything in between, those fillers in between, is what makes people nervous and back off. And I think it's really beneficial to reach out to people who have been through it. And like, I always felt like I was bothering the girl that I was reaching out, and and she was like, "You're not bothering me at all." And like and I've had people, one girl I know, she just finished writing a book and she's reached out to me a few times, and somebody else, the one that's working on like her breast cancer journey and stuff, and I'm like, you're not bothering me, because I wouldn't have gotten here without the help of other people, you know. And it's okay to like in that community reach out and ask people if
people want to help. There's people who want to help.
Exactly. So with Amazon, because they're printing it on demand, they get 70%, I get 30, which I don't really care.
When someone purchased it, did you get a notification right away? Because I feel like that would excite me so much.
It would.
Oh, come on.
You don't get a notification, but if you go onto like your KDP dashboard, you can see how many orders.
You have to check it.
Yeah.
I would want to like
set up like.
I want something to be like, oh,
somebody bought it. Yeah.
Somebody bought my book.
I know, right? No, and it's funny because the other thing that people were like asking me all the time, they were like, when I published my first one, they were like, "Oh my god, can you set one aside for me?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I don't have them." I was like, they're prints on demand. You have to order it yourself.
You have to order it.
So, but now moving forward to the second book and learning more, like through Ingram Spark. So like when you and I spoke, I went on Ingram Spark and I bought 3 to bring with me. And I obviously get them at the discounted price as well.
Right.
If I wanted to have my own stock, I was telling my husband he was asking that. And I'm like, yeah, we'd have to go on and buy like a decent amount of them. And it would be a hefty price up front to buy like however many.
So you have to invest,
But then I would be selling them at full price.
Right.
So that's where like that's how a lot of authors like make their money and stuff, because
they'll buy it up front and then go
and sell it at because it's $16.99. So then you sell it at like its whole.
Would you bring those to the bookstores, or are you trying to sell it on your own? Like on
with bookstores, like how I found you as well is at night after my kids were in bed, I would sit down and I would just, through Instagram, look up different, like, so I, one bookstore, Lady Lair Boutique, she's so sweet. She's so nice. She got my book. I think she got like maybe 5 or 6 of them, and they sold out. So then she went and bought more, and I was like, that's so amazing. And like, she does everything from her home. Like, it's like not even her full-time job. She works full-time, has a family, and then does all this and stuff. And I'm like amazed by that. But her buy, like, she doesn't buy them from me, she orders them through Ingram Spark. And that is really like the biggest thing that I can say is like, if you want them in bookstores, Ingram Spark can be a little daunting. And all the articles that I read, they were like, if you're used to uploading it to KDP, like, which is very straightforward, and it is, it's very like step by step, you fill it out, you do this, you submit it, it takes like 1 to 3 days for like the approval process, and then it's ready to order, and you can literally order it anytime and they'll print it, and that's like super exciting for some reason. Yeah, it's just so cool exciting to know that if you got past that hump with Ingram Spark, it is a little bit like, I remember getting frustrated a few times because like it wasn't as straightforward.
And how did you get in the correct format to upload to Amazon?
So all of that was done through the people who did the cover. So Books and Mood did my cover, and then they did. So when you had asked a few minutes ago about like cost, the cover was like $300, and then the formatting was like 2 inches. So it was like, it's a good $500 to invest just in the cover and the formatting.
But they will do the whole format for you.
Yeah. So they do. So one thing that I wanted, so like every page break is a butterfly. So they do the butterfly. One thing that I was really adamant about is all of the
chapters,
the chapter
beginning
pages
of the chapter
are black.
Love that.
The olive branches at the top, and then when you get to the part where there's letter, one of the letters, I don't even remember how far in it was.
I'm excited to see this part.
Oh my god, where is it? I think it's closer to the beginning. Good lord, I don't even know my own book.
That's okay. Oh, I saw that, how it looks like it's handwritten.
That's his letter. I don't want to give anything away, but there was one.
So do they give you these options, or did you know that you wanted to do this stuff?
I knew everything that I wanted prior, and
this is really great for beginners.
It is, and honestly, like, those are some of the things that I also say is like, you don't have to do the outline. You don't have to like know exactly how, like, when I was writing this, I didn't know how I wanted it to end. I was just kind of like feeling it out, and like you kind of just go with it.
Do you ever like wish you changed the ending, or are you okay with how you ended it?
No, I'm happy with how I ended it. So this does have a happy ending.
Great.
Most romances do. People pick up a romance to feel good. Like, even if it's dark romance, it usually
you want to feel good.
Yeah, usually there might be some things that happen along the way, but it usually ends on a good note. What was I gonna say? The happy ending. Oh, the only spoiler that I will give, I'm saying it ends on a happy note. There is no like proposal or wedding at the end. Sometimes to me that's a bit expected.
Yeah, I think so.
And I did that with my first. And
now, did you leave it so you could turn this into a series?
So a lot of people have asked that. There was like a little tidbit about the male main character's brother. There was like I put a little Easter egg in there about him and like one of his like coworkers or something. So like, it left like that door open. I follow, I don't know if you've read anything by H.C. Carlton, Haunting Adeline. So she's dark, very dark, but I love her books so much. I like going back and forth between like the light and fluffy and like the dark stuff. Yeah. And one thing that she does, like, she's huge right now, and so she has a ton of followers and stuff, and she's like, people are always asking like, oh, are you gonna write about this person? Are you gonna write a book about this person, this and this? She's like, yeah, eventually, like, they just haven't spoken to me yet. Like, they haven't come forward. Yeah.
Is there anything that you regret throughout the process? Or not actually, that's the wrong word I'm using. Anything that you would do differently that you learned from doing it the first time?
Maybe not this one, but my first one, I have so many things I would do different. Like
what?
So many. So I paid to have, it still makes me cringe. And like, if I had taken the time to go back and look through it, I probably would feel better about it, but I didn't. So now it's out there. I hired an editor, and the amount of freaking mistakes that she made is like
crazy,
cringeworthy. And I'm like, what did I pay you for? Because I can go back and look at my original manuscript And while I don't regret it fully because, like, I didn't know exactly, like, how to write things. Like, I was clumping things together in paragraphs, and she was like, yeah, I'm just breaking. And, like, I learned a lot from that. But, like, there were, like, I looked through, and, like, there was one sentence completely missing. And she had to fix it. And then, like, you look through, and there's, like, multiple words that have two of like things in it, and I'm like, it just like my skin crawls looking at it. So like, I don't often recommend my first book because I am slightly embarrassed by that. And two, like when I started it, it was more of like a form of therapy for myself.
Can you get it redone?
Probably.
Is it too late?
It probably, but it's kind of like when you get a bad tattoo and you're like, oh, I'll fix it, and then you just don't. Yeah. I'm moving on to like other things and stuff, so I'm like, maybe eventually I will
Mel
go
Robbins'
back.
new book about
let it go,
let them be, or whatever it is.
So I would definitely have obviously gone a different route with like editing, and then two, the book is like more of like a novella. It's only 200 pages.
Okay.
And when I was writing it, I was like, there's 55,000 words. Like, holy moly, that seemed like so much at the time.
Yeah.
And I wish like, because the storyline is like, I've gotten really good feedback actually, like from a lot of like even people that I'm not like close with that are more like acquaintances that I grew up with. They're like, oh my god, I couldn't put it down. I'm like so flattered and humble.
So good to hear. That's a compliment.
I wish that I had given it more. It's just like it's a watered down version, and I feel like it could have been so much more detailed.
You can always go back.
True. I can make like a deluxe edition and like add a bunch of stuff to it.
Make a deluxe edition. Yeah. Get rid of the old one.
So I ended up, when I was writing this one, I ended up Googling. Oh, there it is. See? Look at that.
Yes.
This is from her mom. So like the writing is different than the one at the end.
That's a nice touch.
Which I almost feel like it should be the other way around, but that one just doesn't look like a man's handwriting, but I think that's okay. But the mother wrote this letter when she was younger, so it makes more sense. But anyways, I actually Googled like how many words a novel has to be a certain amount of, because I looked at my husband, I was like,
I Googled it. Yeah.
I don't want a 200 page, I want like a novel.
I was gonna say before we started, I was looking how many pages with it. That's thick.
But it's like, it's so funny because when I got it, like the format that I chose with the paper, it's like a cream, so it is thinner. And I'm like, it doesn't look as thick as I thought it was going to.
I think it looks
But big. It's 392 pages.
That's like, a lot of pages.
My husband was like, that's a lot of words. I'm like,
did he read it?
So actually, really funny story, a little shout out to my husband.
Oh.
When I did the first book, I just remember like we got the proofs in and everything like that, and he was looking at it and he was like, oh my god, yeah, this is so cool. And so like he had it sitting with him on the ottoman in our living room, and I came down, he was up first, and I came down the next morning and the book was still sitting there, and I was like, did you read some of it? And he goes, I opened it and it has words inside. I was like, cool. But just like my parents, like he's been a huge advocate. Like people at his work have bought the book.
It's important to have the people closest to you be supportive about it.
I mean, my husband is an old school like milkman, like glass bottles and everything, like home delivery.
Oh wow.
And he's had like his customers buy my books, and like it's the nicest thing, you know?
Yeah.
But it was funny because like when I did the first book, my dad was like, oh my god, I can't wait to read it. And I was like, please don't. Please just don't. And he was like, got it. I want a signed copy, and I'll just keep that. And I'm like, I was like,
Did your mom?
My mom read the first one. It was funny actually because my mom read the first one and it took her forever. And I'm like, Mom, it's literally 200 pages. What is it? I know.
Finish it.
My mom's not a reader.
Yeah.
And when I wrote this one, it came out in July 7th, and our chiropractor's wife reached out to me and she says, we have a book club and we picked your book for the book of the month.
It's the best.
Would you come to like our meeting and everything and talk about it? And I was so flattered. I'm like, oh my god, what?
No, I thought of something. You should take your picture in the photo booth with this and then put it inside your books.
Oh, I didn't even know you had. No, I did know you had a photo booth.
Yes.
I didn't
Sorry
know where
to interrupt,
it was.
but that would be nice for people to find, because I think that would be
cool.
fun, like people saying in the room.
I want to take one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to do the book club with them, which was the end of August. So it came out in July, and it was their book of the month for August. Awesome. And my mom, because it's our chiropractor.
Did she go?
My mom wanted to go.
Yeah.
Because it's her husband is the chiropractor, and his wife Sherry is the one who asked me to do it and stuff. And my mom wanted to go, and she was like, But I have to finish it because they're going to talk about it and then I'm going to know. So like my mom like hustled to finish this book. And I was like so proud of her because she's not a reader. She's like an audiobook. She loves, like, she listens to like Harry Potter on audiobook.
The first book club I hosted here, I didn't read the book because it was like...
Is it long?
No, it was just, I don't know what happened. It was just like so crazy, so busy. And like I got there and I was like, they were like, you didn't read it? I'm like, shit.
You're like,
sorry.
Next time.
But I read it. I've read every single book since then.
You know
like,
what,
I will never do that again.
Next time use my husband's line and just be like, I opened it and there are words inside.
I tried to do Audible, but I just can't do it.
I can't
do hear
Audible.
it. I don't hear it at all.
You know what though? I said the same thing about Kindle and I'm curious because
I love a Kindle. I just got it. I was against them, but I love it so much, and I'm reading so much more because of it.
I got a Kindle I used to nanny for this family like almost 10 years ago, and they got me a Kindle for Christmas one year, which was so sweet. And I did use it, but it was like one of like, obviously like it's pretty old, so like I still have it, and I had like charged it, and it was pretty slow moving, and I'm like,
Did you get the paper one or whatever that one?
No, not even one of those. I think the one I got was like $120.
Same.
So like I don't need the big.
I got the page turner. I have the setup where I put
you have a clicker and you can.
I have a clicker and I could be like all cozy up and just click, and I like set it up on my nightstand.
Oh my god, can you send that to me? Because now I want.
It's on Amazon for like $14. And then I got a pillow thing with the stand with a cup for your drink and a bowl for snacks.
This is crazy.
So I have my
You're
little
gonna have
pretzels,
to send me this.
Diet Coke, Kindle, bed.
See,
never leaving.